So is it a good time to buy a home in Healdsburg? And what do the latest trends tell us? And how have high interest rates impacted the city's market? So let's dive into the numbers and what they mean for you. We just had one of our best months of the year, but the final quarter of 2024 promises more uncertain times in the housing market, with a presidential election, which is actually happening today as I record this video. And then we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, and then we're into the winter months just around the corner. So it's no surprise that all of this, combined with high interest rates that thank goodness are now easing, has directly impacted the Sonoma County housing market this year, keeping many buyers out of the market. And this has resulted in slower activity than we've seen for quite a while, especially in the high-end segment. But we'll go over that in a bit more detail in a little bit. However, with the Federal Reserve recently cutting interest rates in response to growing concerns about the economic slowdown and the persistent yet slowly easing inflation, the future looks brighter as we head towards 2025. In fact, we've seen a noticeable change over the past month as more buyers have come off the sidelines. The Fed's decision to start reducing interest rates was a game changer for some buyers and just that overall mindset, because it signaled that the rates are only going to be moving in one direction for the foreseeable future. And in fact, later this week, we're expecting to see another rate cut. But we also need to take into account changes in the geopolitical landscape with events in the Middle East, which further increases economic instability. I mean, even over the past week, there have been signs that there's going to be more activity helping improve the environment for the real estate market. So let's take a look at some of these. But before we go any further, do you know something that you may need that will help you a lot? Well, if you subscribe to my channel to receive new videos like this one, and also updates about living in Sonoma County, I promise you that if you subscribe, I'll continue to bring you more and more videos on everything you need to know about this area, from lifestyle to real estate market tips, things to do, and much more besides. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So now let's dive into the current market in Healdsburg. Well, looking at the numbers in Healdsburg, we can see that from January to September 24, a total of only 126 homes were sold in the city. Compared to the same period last year, it's down 5.3%. And this is actually counter to what's happened across Sonoma County as a whole, where sales are actually up 8% overall and 11% for homes that are over the $1 million threshold. But so why is that? Well, it's hard to explain why, except that perhaps for many purchases in Healdsburg, they're often not primary homes, so they're a more discretionary purpose. And this decrease in year-on-year sales volumes has resulted in a sharp increase in the number of homes for sale, increasing by over 40% if we compare to the same time last year, with 102 homes currently for sale compared to 73 homes for sale in the same period last year. When we look at the time it takes to sell a home, the inventory's increase is directly reflected in the increase in the days on market, which has jumped nearly 30% from 63 days last year to 80 days this year. If we look at the higher end market for homes over $2 million, then the average days on market is even higher at 122 days. So what does this mean in practicality? Well, it means that if you've got a home that's priced at $2 million or over, you should expect to have it on the market for about 90 days before getting an offer, so that you've got the chance to close and remove contingencies to reach that 122 days. So as homes take longer to sell, buyers are definitely sitting on the sidelines waiting to see if the price comes down before they decide to make an offer. At the same time, many sellers feel that their home is worth what it was a year ago, which is probably not necessarily true depending on the type of home. I mean, we've got a number of buyers right now who've identified a home they'd really like to buy, but who are just, taking their time before pulling the trigger and maybe hoping that the price comes down in time. One thing we can observe is that a lot of buyers think list prices will reduce because of the high interest rates. I mean, sellers are just struggling to wrap their heads around that. So while there are definitely homes significantly overpriced, plenty of buyers are willing and able to purchase homes close to list price. So while the ratio of sold price to list price has fallen slightly, down from 97% last year to 96% this year, homes are still selling at about only a 4% discount to the list price. So, for example, if you've got a $1 million home, the discount is likely to be about $40,000. I mean, one key indicator of the market's health and how well balanced a market is between sellers and buyers is the months of inventory based on closed sales. And this metric has increased significantly from 4.9 months to 7.2 months, which is a 47% rise, which indicates that for the first time in a long time, the market is no longer a seller's market, but is now a buyer's market. Now, before I tell you if this is the right time or not to buy a home in Healdsburg, let's discuss who's buying in the city and what the luxury market looks like right now. I mean, there is in fact some interesting trends happening within the market right now. So out of 129 home sales, 66% of the purchases were made by non-owner occupiers, meaning that they were either second homes or investment properties, and 51% were purchased with cash, which actually shows that Healdsburg is a fairly unique market in its own right. Of those non-owner occupied homes, nearly 30% were actually purchased by people already living in Healdsburg. 12% were bought by people from San Francisco, and 15% were bought by people out of state, including neighbouring states as well as further afield on the East Coast. So this data shows that while buyers are still active, Healdsburg continues to attract out-of-town buyers from the Bay Area as well as out-of-state buyers. But as you know, Healdsburg can be split into two very distinct markets. You've got city properties and rural properties. So which of those two types of homes are buyers being attracted to? Well, the city of Healdsburg accounted for 70% of home sales, with an average price of $1.34 million and a median price of $987,000, so just under $1 million. In contrast, rural Healdsburg saw a much higher price point, as you'd expect, given many of these homes are larger homes with acreage. And the average sale price for rural homes is $2.39 million, with a median of $1.62 million. And the difference in prices reflects the premium buyers are willing to pay for rural properties, which often come with larger lots, more privacy, and in many cases unique features such as, planted vineyards or panoramic views. While overall sales are down, certain properties are generating significant interest. For example, 32% of all homes sold received multiple offers, and that's in a market where interest rates have been riding high. A third of all homes are getting multiple offers. When it comes to more luxurious homes and properties with features such as swimming pools, the demand continues to be high. Out of 129 sales, only 15 homes included a pool, and just 7 of those were in city limits. And this scarcity of pool properties makes them a hot commodity, especially for buyers seeking the wine country lifestyle. I mean, there's no question that the number of buyers looking for homes with a pool outstrips supply. So should you buy or sell now? Well, after hearing all of that, you must be wondering if it is the right time to buy or sell your Healdsburg home. I mean, it's never black and white. It all depends on individual circumstances. However, if it was me and I was looking to buy a property in Healdsburg right now, I'd be keeping an eye on properties coming on the market, for sure. Not because I would be wanting to buy the first property that came along, but because I think for a buyer who sees a property that they love, now is a good time to buy. That being said, you can afford to be choosy because buyers do generally have the upper hand right now. But if you wait until the spring, I think you'll likely be competing with a lot more buyers and will end up paying more than you would if you purchase the same property today. If you are looking to sell, right now is probably not the best time, except for maybe a turnkey remodeled home. Just because we've got the presidential election, which is actually happening today, then we come into Thanksgiving and Christmas, not to mention into the winter. And we've got a number of listings right now that we're quietly marketing off market because we don't want to put them on so they'll accrue days on market through the next couple of months when activity is bound to be a little bit quieter. We'd rather put them on in the new year and be fresh and ready to go for the winter and spring buying season. But more rural property, or a property that isn't in the sweet spot for a lot of buyers, or you're not in a particular hurry to sell, I think you're better off waiting until the end of Q1 to be able to take advantage of an increase in the number of the buyers in the market, which is going to be inevitable as we go into next year. So what do we expect in the future? Well, as we look to 2025, with uncertainty around the election removed and with interest rates certain to be lower than they are now, it will likely be a better market for sellers for sure. The big question is how many sellers have been sitting on the sidelines, fearful of attracting buyers with high interest rates. I mean, if we get lots of new inventory, coupled with a large number of homes that remain unsold through the winter, the market could definitely still favour buyers. However, I think the more likely scenario is that as buyers come back into the market, they'll be competing for still a somewhat limited inventory. So all of these factors add uncertainty to the market, making it important for both buyers and sellers to stay informed about the hyper-local market, because even in Sonoma County, both geographic and price segment markets behave very differently depending on where and how much a home costs. So what are the main takeaways and what are your thoughts about all of this? Let me know in the comments below what you think. So if you made it to this point in the video, there's a good chance that you're thinking about buying your next home, investing in this area, buying a second home, or selling your current one in Sonoma County. I mean, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. Just email me at david@brewingtonhargreaves to get started. Our team's the #1 team in Sonoma County with over 70 families helped in 2023 with nearly $80 million worth of property bought and sold. So we can help you whether you want to buy a second home, vacation rental, investment property, or you want to get the inside track on homes that are coming on the market, or indeed if you're looking to sell your home in the future. And hey, before you go, if you like this video and you're curious where to live in Healdsburg, I've broken down living in Healdsburg into the downtown versus resort versus rural areas. I mean, I've lived in downtown and rural, and I've got clients who bought in the resort area. So I wanted to help you decide which one is the best for you. So make sure to check that out. See you in the next video.